Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, where we get to sit down and talk with interesting professional guitar players and related music industry experts. If you love playing guitar, stick around. You're in the right place. Hey, this is Craig Garber from Everyone Loves Guitar, and if you're a guitar player who's looking to make some more money, then listen very closely to what I'm about to tell you. If you're a guitar player, or any other kind of musician for that matter, or if you know a musician who wants to make some more money without having to tour or go on the road, or put up with any of the other BS musicians normally have to deal with, then you need to download this new special report about how to make a small fortune by licensing your music. And by licensing music, I mean getting your music inserted into movies, television shows, and commercials. The report is less than 20 pages long, and it was written by Mike Elsner, who I interviewed in episode number 167 of this show. Mike's been doing this for over 14 years, and he's had over 2,000 songs licensed at this point in time. That means he's getting paid to license almost 150 songs per year. Now, keep in mind, most successful career musicians don't get paid for 150 songs in total over a 30 or 40-year career. Yet, Mike's getting paid for this on an annual basis. And the cool thing about this business is that you can run it from your own home studio, and you'll never have to deal with ivory tower record label executives telling you what to play and how to play it, and no shady managers or unethical business people telling you what to do either. So download Mike's free ebook on the 4-step plan to licensing success right now. Just go to everyonelovesguitar.com/Mike. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/Mike, M-I-K-E. Let me know how you like the book. And now let's get on with the show. Hey, everybody. This is Craig Garber from Everyone Loves Guitar. And we're with Justin Derrico today. He's a great guitar player, and he's been with Pink for 12 years. He's been on The Voice, and he's a real rock and roll star. And I appreciate the time he's taken to come here. Let me tell you a little bit about Justin. He's originally from Long Island, New York, moved to Charlottesville, Virginia when he was 6 years old. When he was 15, he started playing guitar after hearing Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix. He moved to L.A. in 2004 to attend Musicians Institute. And while attending MI, he auditioned for The Calling, and he landed the gig. After touring with The Calling, he played with artists such as V.V. Brown, Robin Thicke, and Lil Wayne. While on tour with Robin Thicke, he got the call to audition for Grammy award-winning artist Pink, took the gig, and he's toured with Pink as her lead guitar player for the past 12 years. He's also credited for playing with Tina Turner, the Pussycat Dolls, and Beyonce. And in between time off between tours with Pink, he's also the lead guitarist in the house band for the NBC hit TV show The Voice. Justin, man, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Craig. I appreciate it, man.
First, congratulations. You had a little girl not too long ago. I was curious. Yes. There's always an adjustment for that. And I was curious how this experience has made your life different, or what kind of adjustments you've had to make.
It changes everything.
Just a bit.
The no sleep thing is a kind of was a new thing, and just the whole schedule change, and then trying to juggle normal life and work, and being there and being there for your kid and trying to help out your wife and all that. It's was definitely a shift, but the most amazing, greatest gift that I've ever been given, ever. And I know people say that all the time, but it's like until you actually experience it, you just can't even explain it.
Cool. How old's your daughter now?
17 months.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to have this conversation when she's 17 years, and I want you. And I will challenge you to tell me this is a gift.
She'll be like, "Oh, my dad is so not cool."
What prompted you to go to Musicians Institute? Because that's a pretty big move. Going from you're in Virginia, and
yeah,
that's a pretty big move. And I was curious what you were doing in Virginia at the time, just before you left, and what was the motivation to just pack up and go.
Well, I went to Shenandoah University, and I went to the music conservatory there. I was there for about a year and a half, I think. And I had gotten through most of my music courses and credits, and I guess all I really had left at that point was like the history of Western music and, sort of not really playing things, more about like the history and stuff, and in English and math and science. And I was like, fuck this.
Yeah, which seems fairly useless if you're trying to.
I was a performance major, so and it was for I guess a bachelor's degree, but I'm a huge Paul Gilbert fan. Love Paul Gilbert, and I remember his instructional videos like Terrifying Guitar Trip, and all of them. And that's how I learned how to actually alternate pick. Is
from Paul's
watching videos, and So I remember him talking about GIT on those videos from when I was younger, watching those videos, and I don't know, I just kind of felt a little stuck where I was. I was playing with a band, and we were doing a lot of gigs and stuff, for a lot of fraternities and, like UVA, just sort of up and down, like the sort of the tri-state area kind of thing. And, we all actually moved out together. And as, the typical story goes, the whole band broke up and fell apart and blah, 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 blah. But, for me personally, we all kind of moved out at different times too. But I was just kind of ready to, I don't know, see what was out there. And I looked up online GIT and checked it out. And I went out to NAMM one year, my first year I ever went to NAMM. And I was like, well, while I'm here, you know what? I'm just going to visit GIT and see what it's all about. And I went there, and it was awesome. Really, really cool school. I was there for a short amount of time, but I learned a lot of stuff and made a lot of great friends that I still hang with today.
Very cool. What was the biggest, if any, was there a big change moving from Virginia to LA?
Oh man, it was like moving to a different country. LA is like, oh man, it's such a different world out there. I grew up on a farm, in just outside of Charlottesville. Pretty small town, cool town, really cool music, a lot of great musicians. But LA was like almost like shell shock. It's just, I moved straight to Hollywood. And it was an eye opener, for sure. It was cool at first, just kind of getting my feet wet out there and just sort of kind of getting to know LA itself. But it was, after about a year and a half, because I didn't go to MI right away. I went out there because I think when I moved out there, I had to wait for like the next semester or something like that, or, and so it was cool for a little while, but I remember kind of starting to get a little bummed out because I wasn't working. I wasn't, like as a musician, I was delivering sandwiches for this, like I had the sandwich route and, go to businesses and, in these office buildings, and they'd be waiting for me to buy sandwiches and stuff, which was cool because I never, starved. I always had food. But I remember it being a bit like a bit hard at sometimes because I wanted to be working, and you're starting to meet people and they're doing things, and I was maybe a little bit envious of that, and it was it was a little tough. But once I started MI, like then it all started to kind of come together, and things started to move along for me. I met my guitar teacher, who I still take lessons with to this day. This guy, Jean-Marc Belkadi. And that was one of the greatest things that's come out of that school for me is meeting Jean-Marc, and all the other staff as well, Alan Hines and Bill LaFleur and Dave Hill. Scott Henderson you could go and hang out with him and play with him, every Monday and Tuesday, I think, all day long if you wanted to. That was the greatest thing about MI was whatever teachers you didn't have, they all had these things called open counseling. So they're all in a room, at certain times of the day, certain days of the week, and you could just go in and hang out with them and play, jam with them, or, hey, you'll be playing and they'll play something amazing. And you're like, what the hell was that? And they'll stop and show you. And then other students are in there playing, and sort of the same thing would happen with the other students. So there's this huge interaction there that was really cool. And I learned a lot from that,
Once you started, so it sounded like you just, because you really didn't know anybody there, it was kind of like lonely. It sounded like. Well, and plus to add that to the fact that you came there to play music and you're fucking delivering sandwiches. Yeah. No, it sounds totally normal. I don't think anybody would have felt any differently. What was some of, like you said, it was like shell shock. What was some of like the Crocodile Dundee moments that you remember, or a moment where it was like you noticed?
First week I moved there, I had this apartment on Hollywood. No, sorry. Yeah, it was on Wilcox, between Hollywood Boulevard and Franklin. And it's a much nicer area now. Then it wasn't terrible, but it was a little dicey. And so like the first week I was there, somebody on the corner of the street got shot and killed. and which wasn't something that was a common occurrence
in Charlottesville, in a small suburb of Charlottesville.
It wasn't even necessarily a common occurrence in that neighborhood per se, but it happened, and I was like, "Whoa, I'm in the big city now. This is real," And then another horrific story. The same week, like a few days later, I'm coming back from I don't know, I can't remember where I was coming back from, but the beach or something. It was it was in the evening, and I couldn't get to my apartment building because they had blocked off the police had blocked off the roads, and there was a fire in the building next to us, and this woman, this is horrific, right? This woman jumped out of the well, they don't know. I heard that she was thrown out. I don't know what happened, but jumped out of this building that was on fire and got impaled on. And like, it was horrific, man. Like I didn't see her body, but I saw all the blood all over the fence and the sidewalk.
Holy shit.
When they finally because I was like, I live here, you guys got to let me through. And they finally let me through, and I guess they cleaned most of it up. But that was like the first week I moved there, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? It was, and it just seemed to be a coincidental weird thing, But it was
maybe it was a test.
Maybe like
it was a vetting process.
Can you? Yeah.
Holy! See, I grew up in the Bronx. I would have been like, again,
Again, yeah. Well, that thing was like for me. Another quick like little thing was like, for me, where I grew up, it was 20 minutes to town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a 20-minute car ride just to go like get groceries or whatever, or do anything. And, in LA, it was like I could walk down the street, I could walk not even half a block and everything's right there, So
which must have been really cool, actually, that part.
Yeah, that was a really cool thing, actually.
Did you find yourself like for fun just going to the supermarket, like just because you could? I'm gonna go. I could, yeah, just because I can. Because I could see doing that. Like if it's because like
everything was convenient, so it was like, oh, can't believe I can wait. I can just go. Oh my god,
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Funny, okay, so how'd you get the audition for The Calling?
So I was hanging out with my friend Dory Lobel, who he fills in for me on The Voice. And Dory's an amazing guitar player. But we were hanging out, and I think Dory, we didn't really – I think he was just finishing up at MI when I just started, but we became friends, and we're hanging out in my apartment, just jamming, geeking out over pedals and guitars and shit,
Mm-hmm.
And there's this guy in LA named Barry Squire who, like, you want to be on his call list because he's the one that all the record labels and artists would call to build bands,
right.
And he has sort of a roster of people and kind of like an agent, but he gets, I guess, the artist or the label, they pay his fee, so he doesn't take anything from us. You know what I mean? So, anyways,
is that unusual?
Well, I mean, not to my, I mean, no, I mean, I don't know because I've never had an agent or a manager or anything like that. So, I've never had to deal with that. And, it just, that seemed to be the way it worked and, there. But like, my wife, she was a dancer for, long, 15 years or whatever. And she always had to have an agent in order to get gigs, and they would always take a percentage, of their pay, every job that they did. Sometimes even if they didn't get them the gig, they would still take a percentage because they represented them.
Oh, okay. Kind of like a realtor. I didn't find you the house, but we have this contract, so I get the money.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, and you haven't had an agent just because situationally you haven't had a need for one, or?
Yeah, I just haven't had a need for one. And like Barry was kind of like the agent, but the beautiful thing about it, and Barry also is a guy who loves music. He loves musicians, and he also wanted to help people out. So, he was the guy you wanted to be on his list. Like everybody was calling. His phone must have been like ringing off the hook. Everybody I know would come to town and be like, "Hey man, do you have Barry Squire's number?" Like he was like the dude, right? And so Barry called Dory for, I believe it. Yeah, it was for the calling. It was for that audition. And Dory, who I love to death, who's my brother, man, he goes, and he's the nicest guy in the world too. And he goes, man, I'm hanging here with my buddy Justin Derrico. He's, really good player. He should come down to the audition as well. And I was like, I didn't ask him to say that. He was just on the phone. He offered that up, and I was like, shit, okay. And so Barry's like, yeah, have him come down. And then, we went down. Can't remember if me and Dory were on the same day because there was a couple days, I think, of auditions that they held. But I went down and got the gig, and it was like, and then things from there just doors have kept opening up, from there. And it's, it was, that was literally life changing for me because that was right at the end. That was kind of, I'm trying to think, my timeline here is a little messy. So I think that was kind of towards the end of my time at MI, because I graduated shortly after that and then went on the road. And when I met Dory, I met him when I first went there. So we'd been friends for a few months by that point.
So it was really timely because you were needing work in a couple of months.
Oh man, yeah. Like, I was kind of getting to the end of MI, and I was like, okay,
what's next now?
Now, well, what? I went to school and I'm done, and what's happening. So yeah, it was like, actually before I graduated, I got the gig. So it was.
Wow. What is there? Do you ever think about? And I always think about things as I'm probably stupid. Like, how come everything? Like. You said everything's kind of taken off organically there. Do you think there's any reasoning why that's happened to you, or it's just because, you're in the right place at the right time, or the universe is supporting what you're doing, or like, have you done anything, I guess, deliberate?
I think it's all of the above, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do think that, part of it is, I love what I do. I love music, and and I work really, really hard. So, I it was sort of like one gig sort of led to the next, and like people always ask me like, what should I do? How do I get into business? Da 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 da. And it's like, for me, like if you're going out to LA, and one thing I think you should do is just play with whoever you can possibly play with. Play out as much as you possibly can, because at some point you're making friends that way, and at some point somebody's going to see you and snatch you up if you're good at what you do. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just am blessed beyond belief just to have these amazing. I've had an amazing run up till now, and now I have two of the greatest gigs on the planet, and it's just unreal.
And I apologize if that question came off like, why did it happen? It shouldn't have. I was okay. Yeah. Good. I want to. Yeah. Cause it's, cause I interview so many people and sometimes this happens and sometimes it doesn't. And it's happened to me. Sometimes it's happened and sometimes it hasn't. And when it does, it's like, I don't know that I have any more answers when it doesn't, to be honest with you.
I mean, well, that's just the thing. I mean, it could be, you could get a gig for, or you could lose a gig for like the littlest thing. They don't like the T-shirt you wore, or I don't know, you smelled funny. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not. It doesn't always come down to just the playing. Like that's a big part of it. You have to be able to play the parts. You have to look the part, but you also have to be, cool. I mean, and it's, there's nothing wrong with being easy to work with, or a nice guy. I mean, that's
for sure
half of it, I think,
Well, it's funny. Joe, who got the job with Robin after you had it, we had this whole conversation. He told me he's lost gigs, and I'm not speaking out of school. He said this on the interview, because he wasn't he wasn't slim, because he wasn't tall enough, because they didn't like the clothes he wore, because they didn't like his hair. Yeah. It's all, and I've talked to guys who lost the job after they get hired, they decide they're too old. So it's like a myriad of things that why that happens. It just amazes me, It's really
it's gigs in LA, some things are very superficial. They have a look that they're going for, and sometimes the running joke was like, hey, I got an audition for so and so, and the other person would say, well, cool, man, make sure you wear the right T-shirt, or
yeah.
But my little brother, he's a drummer, great drummer, really, really good drummer, and he was out in LA for for a short amount of time. And he went and auditioned for a really big pop artist who, well, at the time was just getting started and now is a very, very big pop artist. And he was the best one, the best player that auditioned at that time. And they didn't, she actually loved him, but she thought he looked too young.
Wow.
And he looked when he was, he was like 20 or 21, he had, had a baby face and he did look young, but I mean, it's like,
dude, you look young. You look 10 years younger than you are, to be honest with you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
man.
You look young. It must be a
I'll
family
take that.
thing. Yeah. Cause I was thinking, man, you look kind of like Sammy Hagar, like 40 years ago, a little bit.
Man, it's funny. I Sammy came on the show as a mentor and can't remember. I think it was Blake or somebody was teasing us. He's like, "Hey, man, y'all are brothers."
Yeah, I mean, you look like a very young version of Sammy, or resemble. Not really look, but resemble.
Yeah,
that's funny, man.
Talk about somebody who looks good for it. Man, that guy, he's in amazing shape, and he's, I think, in his 70s, Sammy Hagar, and he looks like, he looks amazing.
That's cool, man. Very
cool. But
see what happens with enough tequila.
Yeah, that's right. Cabo and tequila, man. That's
who'd have thought?
Right there.
A recipe for youth. So how did the audition come about with Pink?
Okay, so I got a call one day from Barry Squire, and I can't remember what was. I think.
So this guy legit is like the what's the ring master or the rainmaker. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much he does anymore because it's just times have changed and things. But I mean, I'm sure Barry still is doing that. But I've been working constantly with the same people for so long now that I haven't had to go do the audition thing. But and maybe I'm like over the age limit as well because a lot of these things they're always looking for like 22-year-old, 25-year-old. But anyways, I got a call from Barry.
That's scary, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it's that is
when you might be over the age limit. That is really scary.
Well, for some, I mean, It just depends, now I'm kind of in the business, but at a certain point in time, I remember it was kind of like, they were always, they would always ask you like, how old are you, and kind of give you the business about it. But,
what's funny about it is the older I've gotten, the more I want to work with older people.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Well, whereas when I was young, I was like, oh, I don't want to work with anybody old. And
right.
It's really weird how that works. I don't get it myself, but
But yeah, I mean, I've always, every band I've always been in has always been a bunch of older guys, and and it's been good for me because that's where I've learned a lot from.
Oh yeah, sure.
But
so Barry calls you about Pink.
Yeah. Well, so not quite. So Barry called me one morning, woke me up. It was like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" I was like, "I just woke up." He's like, "Can you come down to MI and audition? There's this TV show called Rockstar, and they found somebody who they're going to use for the gig, but they're not sure if he's going to commit to it. So they want to have somebody lined up in case it doesn't go through." And I was like, that's kind of weird, but I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, that's not really. It was kind of a daunting thing for me at that age and that time. I was like, TV show, house band shit. I don't know. A little scary. I was like, I don't know, man.
Was it scary because you were at the time with Robin, I think, right?
This was this was before Robin, right? So this is like a year and a half before the Pink thing. So the way I got to Pink was, I went down. I told Barry, hey, I don't, it's not really my thing. He's like, just get your ass down here. Come down here. You'll play, some AC/DC or whatever. Play a few cover songs with these guys and see how it goes. So I went down there and I met Paul Merkovich, and Paul Merkovich is the MD for The Voice. Paul is also the MD for Pink, and so Paul really liked me, and so Paul called me and he said, "Hey, here's the deal. We're waiting to get a yes or no answer from, from the other guy. So can you, learn these songs and just be ready? And we'll let you know by like midnight tonight, but if you need to be ready for a 6 a.m. call for tomorrow." And so I don't know, it was like like 10 songs or something. So I learned the songs and I was ready to rock, and come 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hold on a second. So this is 10 songs, and this is not, there's no compensation for this at this point. This is like you're learning.
No compensation. Yeah.
Okay.
It was just kind of like an opportunity.
I want to point that out because I always like to try to analyze and figure out how do you become successful? And I think that's a really important thing. You just said that, you were willing, the discipline of saying, okay, I'm willing to do this for an opportunity that comes up. It's not always,
how much do you pay to do this?
Or you get money for, it's like, it's kind of like that I mentioned earlier, jokingly, the vetting process, but it's kind of like a vetting process of, who's going to get let in the funnel. And this guy learned those 10 songs. Great. Now you got the opportunity to potentially,
right.
Yeah. And I think that's very cool that you did that.
Yeah. So, for one, I was kind of like, I was super amazed with Paul just as a musician, and I mean, he's unreal. And I thought, man, it'd be good to know this guy just regardless, because he's a badass, if anything.
Yeah.
And so
you were basically thinking, hey, I'll be smart enough that even if nothing happens doing this, I might have this connection now that it's an opportunity to open a door tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
Man, that is. So
I basically, I learned the songs. I was ready. They called me and they're like, "Hey man, sorry, he's going to do it." And I was like, "That's fine. I'm cool with that." It was his gig to begin with. And to be quite honest, it scared the shit out of me. It was a bit of a relief, because I felt, at that point, that is like, I'd never done anything like that. So it was like a bit of a deer in headlights,
Sure.
So, and how to even approach a gig like that, you have to learn, where it's a gig like The Voice, where you have to learn, shit songs in a short amount of time. And But so anyways, a year or a year and a half later, at some point in that time, I'd been playing with Robin Thicke. So anyways, Paul calls me like a year later, and I get a message from him going, "Hey man, this is Paul Merkovich. I don't know if you remember me from the Rockstar stuff, but I've got a really cool artist that I'm working for, and I think you'd be. She needs a guitar player, and I think you'd be a really cool candidate for it." And so,
how good did that feel? That
that
must have felt great.
First of all, who is the artist? Who? Because he didn't say who. And then, and I was like, "Holy shit!" It felt amazing. That Paul, especially Paul, who being who he is, and thinking of me to come do that was like, "Holy shit, this is awesome." And so,
but did you also feel like, "Hey, man, that work paid off"?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I didn't really think about it at the time, but now I do.
Yeah.
Now I think, man, I almost didn't go to that audition. I was this close to not going.
Yeah, it's amazing how this shit works out, isn't it?
Yeah. And so the Rockstar audition, I was that close to not going. And so when the Pink thing came up, I called him. He was like, "Yeah, it's Pink, da 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 da." So the management, they sent me over a handful of her records, and they told us, "Hey, learn these 4 or 5 songs, whatever it was." And so I went there to the audition, and there's probably 10, 15 other guys trying out, and so
that's a pretty big cattle call.
Yeah, it was somewhat like handpicked. But it wasn't like everybody was really good players. Yeah. Everybody that tried out were really good. And so I went in there, we started playing. Well, I mean, first when I shook her hand, I just felt like we already knew each other somehow. We kind of had some sort of kind of connection right off the bat. But so anyways, I was really nervous, and Gibson had just given me this Les Paul. And it was kind of a dog, really. The fucker just wouldn't stay in tune for shit.
That sounds. You never hear that about.
Yeah, right.
Gibson. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah. So, anyways, the guitar. It just we started playing Just Like a Pill, and my guitar was fucking completely out of tune. And I was just like, I stopped everywhere. I was like, "Guys, just give me a second. Let me get this guy in tune." So I'm sitting there, I'm tuning it, and I'm fighting this damn thing, and I'm trying to trying to get it in tune. I'll tune it, and it goes out of tune. I keep tuning it, and I could see everybody's getting a little antsy. And, she's sitting right there, and management and all these people who I have no idea who anybody is, and so I look up at her and I told her, I was like, "Well, it was in tune when I bought it." So she lost it, and she thought that was funny. So that broke the ice. And then, so I got it in tune finally. And then we played the song, and then they had me play a couple solos over some of the songs. And then we played Dear Mr. President. And I think that might have been what got me the gig, because I was playing it. She was watching. I was playing it to a track. We didn't have any click. And so I was just following that vocal, and I think she caught on to that I was able to follow the vocal really well. And I came in very prepared. Everything I learned, all the parts, verbatim, and the audition went really well. So they were like, "All right, cool, man. Can you just hang out for, a few minutes?" I was like, "Oh, that's good news for me." Because normally you do these things, you leave, and then you never hear from anybody ever again. You're like, right. Did I get the gig? Hey Barry, So a couple more people went after me, and then they brought me back in the room, and they were also auditioning some backup singers, and they had me play with her and one of the backup singers, and they turned around and they said, "Hey man, great job. We'll see you in Budapest next week." They hired me on the spot.
It never works out the way you always want to hear. Hey, you even got the job and blah, blah. It never works out. I hear this all the time. It's quite funny.
So, I had to, so I remember it was like in the middle of the week that I got that happened. And then on the weekend I had to fly out to DC and do a gig with Robin. And then Monday I started rehearsals with Pink, and I had 5 days, and we had to learn like, I don't know, I had to learn like 25 songs or whatever, because we were doing like a full 2-hour show or whatever in Budapest the following week. So I flew to DC and, you know, just listened to all the songs on the plane, and was kind of learning the songs at sound check, and Robin was not happy with that at all.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, was that difficult to?
It was hard because, you know, me and Robin we're friends, and you know, he's a good dude, and he understood. He was really cool about it. He understood that, you know, this was an amazing opportunity for me. He was bummed that I was leaving him, but, you know, he was really cool about it. I can't remember if I think.
You were just a kid though when you got that job.
Yeah, I was like 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, 24. And just turned 24. Actually, it was like a couple of days after my birthday was when I auditioned. And and so I basically learned the damn songs on the airplane, flying back to LA, and then, you know, come Monday, we rehearsed that whole week. And
locally or out in?
Yeah, in LA.
Okay.
And then we flew to Budapest, but she wasn't there all week. It was just the band rehearsing, getting our shit together. Flew to Budapest, so then she wanted to kind of hear stuff, so she just kind of hung out and listened. And then she was really happy. She got up and sang some stuff with us. A couple songs, not much though. So I didn't really have any real rehearsal time with her.
Yeah.
So until we got on stage in Budapest and did the show. And so we got up, and it was like 100,000 people, 120,000 people. It was this in Hero Square, this big T-Mobile festival thing. Biggest thing I was like,
"Are you freaking out?"
Yeah, I was freaking out. What the fuck is going on? I said, well, if I fuck this up, at least I got to do, you know, an awesome gig with an awesome artist. You know, I didn't know what to expect, and I was scared shitless, and went out there. We fucking killed it. She was happy. Management was happy, and the rest is history, you know?
That's a great story, man. Thank you for sharing. You know, that's a pretty big thing for a 24-year-old to go through and, you know, to keep it together, I think, to tell you the truth.
Oh yeah, man. It was, well, funny thing is, so the day we got in, we did that rehearsal, and it was a stressful week for myself and I think for the band, because they're breaking in a new guy and a new singer as well. And they're also kind of getting their sounds together and everything. And so it was a stressful week, and then she wasn't there. So we were, you know, concerned how it was going to go. And, we went and we did the thing where she listened, and then we left, and we were all like, yeah, we went out and friggin' partied our asses off. And the next day was the gig. And I like didn't even think about it. I woke up so hungover, and I was going, what did I do, man? What did I do?
Man.
And that's why I thought to myself, well, if I fuck this up, you know, but thank God, being 24 years old, but, you know, from morning to evening, your recovery for a hang-up is usually you're good by the evening, you know. These days, not so much.
Did you have another guitar, or you had that Gibson?
Mm-mm. I had actually that first gig. I had this like blue Stratocaster with humbuckers in it, and I had that Gibson, but I didn't use it for the whole show because and I ended up sending that guitar back. And they sent me a couple other guitars, which one of those guitars that they sent me is my main axe that I've been playing ever since, and it's my, you know,
the Les Paul?
Yeah.
Very cool, man.
Yep.
And then how did the voice come up?
So the voice came up through Paul. Once again, Paul.
Oh yeah, because she said he's the MD for The Voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Paul called me up, and we had just finished a tour with Pink and I think it was the Funhouse tour we just finished, and I'd just gotten married, and I did a short little run.
How long you been married
now? Since 2010, so 8 years.
8 years. Congratulations, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And still going strong.
Good for you, man.
What's up with shit?
I think 8 years for a rock star, especially a young guy like you, is a pretty good accomplishment, man. A real good accomplishment.
Well, I met my wife on Pink. She was one of the dancers.
She's one of the dancers. Oh, check that out. Okay.
Yeah.
So she understands the business and the lifestyle, at least, that you're not going to be around all the time. I think that's a big help.
Yeah. It's the only time it's tough is like when we were both touring. That can be a little impossible to navigate through, just being able to see each other.
Oh, God,
but she was a dancer on that, and she's been a dancer. She was like Tina Turner's head dancer for like 14 years or 15 years, and but she's also a really great singer. And so the last 6 years, she's been singing backups for Taylor Swift.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but she recently had just left because I'm on tour, and and now we have our daughter. Yeah. Like one of us has to be home. And it just made more sense for her to stay home, and that way we're actually in control of our schedule for the first time, I think, in our entire marriage.
That's great. Well, it's a handy time too with the baby.
Yeah,
good for you, man.
But thanks. Yeah, but so The Voice, I did it, and then so I'd been done with Pink for a minute, and then I went and did a short little couple week promo run with Enrique Iglesias. And then I had like nothing going on. I had nothing on the books. Like, I was like, I guess I'm going to go promote my record, because I don't know what else, I hadn't gotten any calls to do anything. And then Paul called me up one day and was like, hey man, I got this TV show. It's called The Voice that I'm going to be, doing, he's like, it's probably going to be like, he goes, it's going to be kind of tough, you have to learn a shitload of songs, but it'll probably be like 4 or 5 days a week, we'll probably get the weekends off, and, we'll be in town, and, it should be a cool thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. Cool. Again, I was kind of scared shitless from the TV aspect of it, because, like, I'd never done anything like that. And
you just like from uncertainty of responsibility involved, or what was it that got you
just
crazy the most?
Well, it was just because we didn't know what the show even was or how it even worked. And then like we had to learn like 200 songs in like, 10 days, literally. And wow. It was unbelievable the amount of songs. Like we were learning like, I don't know, man, 15, 20 songs a day. And then the contestants would come in, and then they change the keys, they change the arrangements, everything changes. So like you're learning everything over twice, it seems like. And at that point,
keeps you sharp as hell as a player, though.
Sharp as hell, man. Yeah. But drove me insane because I couldn't really read that well at the time, and so I was memorizing everything.
Wait a minute, you're a Guitar Institute graduate. Not a good commercial for guitar.
I never, and it's on me. It's on me because I never put the time in with the reading.
No.
And when I went to MI, I tested out everything. They have level 1, 2, and 3. So I tested into level 3, because I had been to school before that, so, I had some knowledge of, pretty good understanding of theory and things like that. But I could read. I knew how, I knew the notes and the rules and all that shit. But actually reading it and playing was a problem for me. And I never put the time in to get good at it. And, I did the bare minimum just to sort of get by. And that was one of the classes I did not do well in.
Yeah. That's a very common thing amongst like loads of really high level, really successful players. And it's the exact same thing.
Well, reading's a hard thing, but so I couldn't really read that well. Nobody was doing charts anyway at that point. So we were just kind of figuring out how this, like, what happens next. So we play, like, we were doing the blind auditions. We were like, so we play now what they talk, what's happened. And in every round, we're like, so we sort of created like our whole process, you know, in that first couple of seasons. And now we've got it down to a freaking science, and it's pretty well-oiled machine at this point. But the first few seasons, no charts, memorizing everything. And I mean, I've etched out childhood memories from that stuff. But it was an amazing experience because I learned so much music really, really, really fast. Had to change keys really, like, I mean, it made me a 50 times better musician. And playing with the band, the guys in the band are, I mean, just the highest level musicians there are. And just playing with those guys. And the other guitar player, he comes in for the live rounds. I'm the only guitar player up until the live rounds, and then he comes in for the live rounds. And my life just gets so much easier because, like, anything that, you know, anything I can't cover live, you know, we do everything with, you know, to a click. So typically if there's, you know, multiple guitar parts, then I'll record it in the box. And so, when Dave shows up, it's like my workload gets cut in half, and he is one of the greatest guitar players I know. And so just playing with that guy, I learned a lot of shit.
That's awesome.
From hanging with him. But by season 3, I did the blinds, and then I left to go back on the road with Pink to do the Truth About Love tour. And I was gone for about 18 months, and then I came back into season 6, somewhere in the middle of season 6. They had charts. So, and they had people that were making the charts, and I was like, oh shit. So, I was like, well, I forced myself. And then, finally I'm, you know, not a great reader, but I'm not a terrible reader. Like the chord charts are no problem, but like the notation stuff, which sometimes is pretty heavy stuff that's happening. I'm pretty good now, you know. I learned how to read on that gig.
So a lot of good things have come out of that.
Oh, I mean, yeah, all good stuff. Other than like my brain has been melted, but I can deal with that.
It's very cool. It's funny. Sometimes the things that, like, I know for me, like something's been daunting or scared me to do, and it turns out to be, you know, a really good thing in the end there. And it sounded like that happened with you.
Yeah. I mean, you know, for me, like whether the shit scares me or not, I'm always like, well, I just got to go for it, you know, and see what happens. And if I fall flat on my ass, well, then I learn something from it. If not, you know, I'm going to learn something anyway. So
Sure. You mentioned that you grew up in almost like was it an actual farm you grew up on? Like
it was a horse farm.
Oh, so is that what your parents did for a living?
No, it was so my mom's from Charlottesville, and my dad met my mom there because he went to school at UVA.
Okay.
And so, they, I think, decided they didn't want to raise us in New York.
Where were you living? Do you remember?
In New York?
Yeah.
I think it was East Islip.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, anyways, we moved, and I guess that's just I don't know why that. Like, I just remember being like waking up in the car, driving down our driveway at the farm, and my mom and dad being like, "This is our new home," and I was like, "Cool." Like, I didn't give a shit. I didn't know any better. We'd been to Virginia a bunch to visit my grandmother because she lived down there and all that. So we loved going down there because for us it was like, you know, we go down and play out in the fields and, you know, and all that stuff. But yeah, I got into riding, like horseback riding and stuff when I was kind of young, and then I kind of got out of it. It wasn't really my favorite thing, but we ended up really just we had horses for a while, but we ended up just renting out the fields for like cattle and horses and stuff like that. So, it was a working farm, but you know, we weren't really working it. I mean, we did our thing on it. We enjoyed it,
Sure.
but we weren't working it to do as a, you know, my parents weren't doing that for, you know, a living. My mom was a nurse and my dad, he was a lawyer.
Did your dad work in DC?
No, he worked in New York.
Oh, okay. So you commuted back and forth.
Yeah, he drove back and forth every freaking week. Every Monday he'd go up and he'd come back on a Thursday.
But it's not that. It's like about 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
No, it's like 7-8 hours.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy crap. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He tried to do some stuff in Charlottesville, but he just couldn't make the kind of money that he was making. In you know, it was just night and day. You know,
of course.
Yeah.
Was anybody else musical? You said your brother is a drummer.
Yeah, not really. I mean, yeah, just my little brother.
How many brothers and sisters?
I got 3 brothers.
Oh wow!
So I got 2 older brothers, and then 1 younger brother. And my older brothers, they were like star athletes. They love music, and my family was pretty supportive of it. Although when I first started playing guitar, you know, I was like, you know, in 9th grade, and I was playing, you know, on the JV football team, and my dad was like the biggest football fanatic ever, any sports really, but football. And he really wanted me to play football, and I was playing. I was pretty good at it, you know, but I'm a small dude, and so I was never destined to play football. Yeah. But I decided to quit because I didn't want to hurt my hands. I wanted to play guitar, and so he grounded me for like, you know, a month because I quit playing football. And I was like, sweet, I'm just going to stay at home and play guitar.
Have you ever talked to him about that? Like, Dad, do you, I mean, seriously, you grounded me for playing. Have you ever had that conversation?
No, well, my dad passed away about 13 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. That's terrible.
It's okay. Thank you, man.
I'm sorry.
But no, I never had that. We never had that conversation. But yeah, he's a pretty intense guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, so that happened though, but then I started playing a lot and started doing gigs, and my parents would come out to the shows, and then they became super supportive.
That's cool.
You know? Yeah. My brothers, all of them have always been super supportive of, you know, me playing music and stuff. And like my little brother, he started playing drums, and he's a bad little motherfucker.
Is he out in LA with you?
No, he's in Charlottesville still. He plays in like a wedding cover band.
Sure.
And they do like 60, 70 dates a year. And he's teaching. You know, he's got like over 100 students. So
That's awesome.
He's a busy dude.
Good. Hey, let's talk gear for a few minutes. What's your go-to guitar right now, and maybe what other 2 or 3 guitars would round out your top 3 or 4?
Well, for me now, and it's kind of been the same for years, is my Les Paul.
That one that you got.
That one, yeah. I mean, so that guitar, right? It's not like the greatest sounding Les Paul, or it plays really good actually. But it's just got some kind of mojo, and you know, because I've got other Les Pauls that are better, like more woodier, organic, cool sounding. But this thing's just got a cool little growl to it, and it's got a cool thing. And so that guitar, you know, the headstock's broken twice on it. You know, it's all beat to shit. But I love that guitar, man. And
is it a standard or like a custom, a classic?
Les Paul standard. It was like right before they changed the standard to the traditional, and right before they started chambering them.
Yep.
But
so it's heavy guitar.
Yeah, I mean it's not crazy heavy, but it's a good weight. It's probably I don't know, probably 10 pounds, I'd say.
Sure.
You know, 9.5, 10 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark. But it's just I love playing that guitar, and no matter what guitars I buy or pick up or whatever, here get given, I always end up back on that guitar and going, damn, dude, it just feels like home to me for some reason. Is
it stock pickups in there, or have you modified them?
Stock pickups, man. Nothing special. I mean, other than the fact that it is special.
What else? What do you go to number 2 or 3 if you have any even?
Yeah, I got a Ronnie Montrose 58 reissue Les Paul I've got 2 of them actually, because I got one and I thought it was so amazing. I got 2 of them, and surprisingly enough, they're like major workhorses. I use that guitar more on the voice, because it's a little bit more versatile, and it's kind of it's got a really organic. It's got I don't know what the pickups are actually. I think they're like PAFs.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But I think they're specific to that guitar. I don't think it's one that Gibson makes outside of that guitar. I'm not really sure, but it's just a really bright Les Paul, super bright and real woody, and just it's a really great axe.
And is there a number 3?
Third guitar is, I'm kind of torn. All right, so I've got another Les Paul it's kind of I don't know it's my model, because it's a gold top and it's got my tattoo. It's got this tattoo on it.
Oh, and so it's a signature guitar.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's only one of them that's ever been made, and that's mine. That's it. Yeah. So, and it's got no heel. So the neck, just goes kind of right into the back of the body. So there's no heel. So I can, you can play up high, and it's really, and I got really big frets on it. So it plays so good, and it sounds great. And on all my Les Pauls, I've got the piezo pickup.
Yeah.
And for this show, I don't pick up an acoustic the entire set. And there's several songs that are just all acoustic, and I'm using my piezo, and it sounds 10 times better than any acoustic guitar I've got that I've plugged in.
Dude, I hope Gibson's listening to this. They need to make sure they give you a lifetime of guitars. Your number 1, 2, and 3 is a Les Paul. That's you
know what, man? I'm gonna have to say this. I hate to say this, but I'm gonna have to say this though. I just got off the phone with them. I asked them a couple days ago, because I'm interested in a 59 reissue, and I'm having a hard time getting anything out of them these days.
Man, that's wrong. That's
wrong. I know.
That's totally wrong.
Man, I haven't actually. Most of my signature model, I bought. I paid for that one. The Montroses I bought. Actually, almost every Les Paul, they've given me some guitars.
Yeah.
But almost every guitar I have, I paid for, just about.
Oh my God! It's not like you're not visible. I mean, really, you're on TV every week.
I don't want to sling mud. But
no, but I mean, seriously,
I have to say I'm a little disappointed with how their policies have changed. It's not, the A&R people are actually really good, and they're working really hard to try to make things work, but they have their hands tied because some of the people up top. I don't know. I said to the person yesterday, I said, listen, I'm on a sold out arena tour all through America and a world tour, all globally. And then I'll be, going back to The Voice in September, when we have a little bit of a break. When
you're on national TV,
2 nights a week, primetime television, 15 million viewers a night is so it's not worth, the advertising time there is priceless that you're getting, because when we are out front, you see us, and it's you're probably talking $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a second for advertising time.
Is that what they charge?
So I'm not sure the exact number, but that's why there's so many commercials on television, because that's what that's what pays for all that advertising time, and I guess at prime time, you're talking the prices are astronomical for what it costs for advertisement. So,
I don't know. So let's talk to Gibson right now. As a business person, it would seem to me that like hooking you up with any guitar you want.
They've been good. I'm not gonna say they've been bad. They've been good to me over the years, but they've also gotten rid of a lot of people that were there, who are no longer there. So I almost don't know anybody that's there anymore. So all those relationships are gone. But now I kind of found it funny that we,
See, that being said, if I was like one of the competitors of Gibson listening to this, I'd be like sending you shit. It's kind of like, it's like when you break up with your girlfriend,
Hey, look, I'm open to stuff, man. I love my Les Pauls, but I love playing different stuff. And if I find something that's going to work better, then I'll use it. You know what I mean? And I'll give you all the love in the world. But the thing is, it's like, I do truly love my Les Pauls. Yeah. And they're just great guitars. And, but yeah, I have to say I'm a little disappointed with Gibson at the moment.
Good for you. Maybe that'll change. You know what, man? Good for you for speaking up.
Well, I think it's just like, personally, I think, they need a better policy, for their artists. Maybe they have different tiers of different levels, and maybe there's so many giveaways they can, give away. And I understand, like, it's a business. They got to sell guitars, and, I don't know how many guitars I'm helping them sell or not, but people see that stuff out there that
every week in and week out.
Yeah,
so that's the ticket, man.
So it's advertisement. Yeah. But listen, I can afford to go buy.
Of course.
I'm not bitching about it.
Yeah.
Woe is me. I've got a million freaking guitars. What do I need? But as an artist and stuff, and it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to get at. It's like, I'm going to help you promote, but give me the stuff to promote, and then I shouldn't have to pay for the stuff that you want me to promote. Is my
I
point.
agree. I agree with that, man. Good for you. Is there anybody who influences your playing that people might be surprised to hear?
That influence.
I always.
Maybe George Benson.
Wow, that's interesting.
Fucking adore. I mean, like, he's one of my favorite guitar players on the planet. I can't play like him at all, but I do transcribe a lot of his stuff sometimes, and well, I don't write it, notate it out. I mean, I'd listen to it and learn it and stuff. But yeah, George Benson is, God, man. Every time I listen to that guy play, it's like, what the? My mind is just blown. Jimmy Rosenberg's another guy. He's like a gypsy jazz guitar player, like like the Django stuff.
Yeah.
He's unreal. Again, that's something I kind of dabble in. I'm not, by all means, I don't play gypsy stuff, but I dabble with it a little bit here and there, and it's it's really fun stuff. Who else, man? I don't know, man. I love the Edge. Like, he's not like a shredding dude, but I love the Edge. I love his guitar parts. I think that,
See, now if I work for Fender, I'm listening to this, I'm sending you like a custom fucking Edge. No, seriously.
Now we're talking.
I mean, seriously, this is not like genius marketing, but I mean, not for nothing.
Yeah, man. But, I love, just the textures and stuff, all the delay stuff. I mean, he's created a whole style. Like I'll go do a session and they'll be like, hey, man, can you do like an Edge kind of a part? You know what I mean? Or like we'll be doing the voice stuff and Paul will be like, hey, make it kind of like a U2 Edge thing. And like, that's saying a lot, man. That guy's created sound and great shit. So I love him. But I'm trying to think, man. The typical guys like Stevie Ray Vaughan is one of my heroes. Hendrix, I mean, come on, that's what got me started. Steve Vai, Satriani, and Yngwie and Eric Johnson. Love those guys. I mean, I was just transcribing some Eric Johnson stuff the other day, and just
it's crazy.
Yeah, and I love those guys, but I'm trying to think anybody who's kind of an oddball that I like.
Do you do a lot of session work?
Well, with the voice, I do, but I mean, with the voice, every week we go in and we, like, every Friday we record all the stuff for the iTunes for the downloads.
Oh, cool.
So every week we record, 12 to 14 songs every Friday.
So this is a very busy gig, like stuff going on behind the scenes between learning all the new material and rehearsing. This is like a full-time gig plus.
Well, so when it goes live, so Monday and Tuesdays are shows. Monday's like the big show, 2-hour show, and then Tuesday is the results. Wednesday, we film reality with the coaches and contestants. Thursday, we have second rehearsals. So we when we film reality, that's them picking the songs, learning the songs, and we're rehearsing with the coaches. Then we kind of refine it on Thursday. Friday, we go and we do the full-length version of the songs in however arrangement we settled on. And then Saturday and Sunday, we're on stage rehearsing, blocking, and all that stuff for Monday night show. And then it starts all over again Tuesday night, basically.
So this is like a really busy gig.
Yeah. It's like, 7 days a week, 14, 15, 16-hour days. I mean, Paul, he just, there's nights where he comes in and he had 2 hours of sleep because he was up doing like a crazy string arrangement for, or some orchestral shit for this song, and it's just like, it's insane, man.
I got to ask you one question. Every time you lift up your arm, I see a tattoo that says JJ something. What is that?
Oh, it's my dad. My dad's.
Okay,
Joseph Derrico Jr., but I put it on here as J Junior D.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
What's something that you've learned about yourself along this journey? You had a lot of really cool experiences, and you've done things that have intimidated you originally. What have you learned about yourself?
Well, I've learned that I have a hard time telling people no. That I'm not afraid to learn, at any cost. I always want to continue to evolve. And I'm a bit of a workaholic, I think, in a sense. Like I do love to work and I really live for it. So, and I love what I do. It's just, it's hard to really turn it into work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
I think being a workaholic's like a bit of a blessing and a curse.
Can be, it can be, but like today, I got the day off today, and I'm probably gonna, chill out for a little bit, but I'll probably, practice for at least a couple hours, sometime this evening, just, but to me, like, that's not really work. That's like almost meditation, fun for me, But
what do you practice when you practice?
These days, man, I've just been, I'll listen to some stuff on iTunes and see if I can find a couple cool licks here and there. If I hear, like I said, I was transcribing some Eric Johnson stuff the other day, and there was a cool lick he did, and I was like, oh, I gotta know what that is. I gotta check that out. I'm not really going for, like, there were times where, sorry, not to backtrack, but Brent Mason is one of my favorite guitar players.
Oh God, yeah.
And
how do you know Brent?
Well, I know him we have a friend of a friend, and we've kind of emailed back and forth, and I saw him this last time I was in Nashville, and we hung out and kind of, that was the first time we actually met. So, but he, God damn, he's influenced me in a big way. I mean, all the country stuff that I can really play has come from Brent.
Yeah.
They're regurgitated Brent Mason licks. So Brent is a huge, huge, huge influence. And that's, I don't do the thumb pick thing, but all the hybrid, I do a lot of hybrid picking. And that's derivative of all the Brent stuff, I transcribed all that Hot Wired record, and, that song Hot Wired is just like, I mean, it's one of the most fun things to play. Like, it's like, every time I pick up a guitar, I think I almost play that song almost every time because it's just so much fun to play. But, but if I'll kind of hunt and listen, and if I hear something really cool, I'll transcribe it, and then maybe I'll try to take my, come up with some ideas off of that. But I also I still take lessons when I've got time, and when I do a lesson with Jean-Marc, it's always it's like a 2-hour lesson, and he just gives me an obscene amount of material. So I videotape, he'll show me something and I'll videotape it. And so I've got all these lessons where I'll go back and go, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot about that. I try to remember everything he shows me. I try to internalize it as much as I can, but sometimes it's so much, it's a little
2 hours. That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll go through a lesson and half of it will be chord melody thing, and then the other half is tapping and shred licks, or it's a little all over the place sometimes, but there is some cohesiveness within the lesson. If he shows me something, he'll show me a really cool concept, but in each position up and down the neck, and we'll just roll with that. And then how to use it, when you're playing. We work a lot with playing over changes and melodic minor stuff and a little bit more involved harmonic things.
I think that's so cool that you still actively. Do you take these in person? These lessons?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think that's so fucking cool, man. That you take these in person lessons, and that's so awesome.
Well, it's just when you got a guy like him too, especially, he's just a fucking dictionary of he is one of the most talented people on this planet. I know for sure, but he's just got so much knowledge and such a knack for any kind of style of music. And he's so musical just within himself. It's just, he's just a lot of fun to hang with, just besides the lesson, It's but I learned, he's shown me so much stuff and really opened my mind up and my eyes and my ears up to some pretty amazing stuff that I never would have really cracked the code on. Yeah, I could have heard it and learned it, but not really understood it. And he makes me understand, we're going from this chord to this chord, because of this. And this is how we're getting there. We're playing over this because we're thinking this chord, but it's really this chord. We're implying. So there's a lot of, we'll talk about counterpoint, and he really breaks it down, how this will move this way and this will move that way, and this is what you want to do. And so it's it's really, it's intense stuff, but it's fucking, I love it.
That's so cool. Greatest.
Yeah.
What do you like most about yourself, man? Tough question. That question's always tough, except for one person. Do you know? And don't say his real name. Do you know Satchel?
Yes.
From Steel Panther.
I'm sure he had a great fucking
Oh my
answer.
God, that interview's coming out soon. It's hilarious.
He probably says, "Oh, I got a huge dick."
Yes, that's exactly what it was. I interviewed him as Satchel.
As Satchel.
Yeah, that was the whole interview. It's hilarious.
I don't know, man. I guess I'd say, I don't know. I'm pretty fun to party with. No, that's a really tough question, man. My favorite thing about myself. Yeah. I mean,
that's probably not it.
No, I mean, I guess the fact that I'm always trying to push myself to learn more. Even if it's not just music, just everything. Just even being a better person in general. It's I want to strive to be better and better and better. As much as I can, because what else is there to do on this earth?
I hear you, man. You're preaching to the choir, man. I feel you on that. Tell me something about yourself people would either be surprised to hear or might find a little odd.
Well, I wear odd socks. I'm serious.
Like you wear mismatched socks?
Yeah, actually today I'm not, for the first day in probably a month, because I'm completely out of laundry. But I actually have to do my laundry tomorrow. But yeah, I typically wear, black and white socks, and I don't know why, but it sometimes bugs me if I'm not wearing odd socks.
Odd socks? Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of all cool answers like this. Most important person in your life?
Oh, well, I mean, my daughter, I mean, my wife and my daughter and, my mom, definitely. I mean, I know it's 3 people, but those are the most important people in my life for sure.
Is your mom still in Virginia?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you get to see her a lot?
I do. She's been, I took her out. We did a little vacation this summer, went to Mexico, and then she came back to LA for a little bit. And then, over the holidays, she came out for a little bit. And then we're actually playing my hometown in April, so we'll be there. And then, I'll probably more than likely go to my mom's this year for Christmas. We've kind of stayed, normally we'd go to either England or my mom's, like flip-flopping every year.
Was your wife from England or something?
Yeah, she's
your wife's from England also?
Yeah.
That's
she's
really
Sheffield.
Where's Sheffield? That's wild.
It's like it's like a 2.5 hour train ride north of London. Okay. So it's I think it's pretty close to Manchester, probably about a half an hour away from Manchester.
So she's from the Midlands.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. How cool is it having an English wife, dude? I mean,
it's
really.
Awesome. Well, until she yells at you, you feel like you really fucked up, because coming with an English accent, it's like twice as like, oh man, I really fucked up, didn't I? It hurts twice as much.
That's funny. Most important thing your dad taught you?
Oh man, that's a fucking, oh man. I guess to stand up for myself. Yeah, I mean, he was always pretty, vocal about how he felt about things, and I feel like I've gotten that from him.
And your mom, what's the most important thing she taught you?
Oh man, just how to love. My mom is one of the sweetest people on this planet. How to be nice to people,
That's cool. What would you say your biggest business or personal win is?
My biggest, like financially?
No, anything. It could be emotionally, financially, satisfaction wise.
My biggest win, I think, for me, like as a musician, as a player.
Whatever as a player, as a person, you could be like, hey, the fact that I've played guitar for the last X amount of years and been a professional musician could be the fact that I had my daughter, whatever.
Yeah.
It's always different for different people,
It's tough because, I would say my daughter is definitely the biggest win for me. Because, it's just the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Cool, hands down.
Do you have any hobbies outside of music? And odd sock pairings.
Yeah. Let's see. I've recently taken up golfing, but I'm shit at it. I suck at it. I do enjoy it. I don't really, it's not like I go a lot though. I couldn't really say it's a hobby just yet, but I do enjoy it.
A lot of musicians play golf. A lot of guitarists actually.
Yeah. It's, I can't figure out, cause I'm like, I grew up, playing baseball and lacrosse, and I'm left-handed, I bat lefty, but I throw righty. So I can't figure out when I'm playing golf whether I'm left-handed or right-handed, because I hit about equally as well with both. The left-handed feels more comfortable, but I think I can hit a little farther right-handed, so it's a little bit of I'm trying to work that out.
Yeah. That's interesting. Are you ambidextrous like with everything, or just?
Not everything, just certain things. It's weird.
You play guitar right-handed?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried playing left-handed?
No, but I know it would be probably terrible.
Oh, okay. So you just know that was okay.
Yeah, I don't think I could. I don't think that would happen. It would take some time for sure.
No need to do that now.
Yeah.
At this point, 2 more questions, Justin. What are you looking forward to in the future, either musically, professionally, or personally?
I'm looking forward to doing getting more into the writing side of stuff. I'd love to get some songs placed, with some artists and write with them. And I really enjoy creating. I've been doing sort of learning everything and playing it back for a long, long time. But at the same time, I've done a lot of creative and a lot of writing stuff. But yeah, I really would like to pursue that, as well as what I'm still doing. But I really love to do that because it's just such a fun process.
You mean having songs placed with other artists, or like licensing for TV and stuff like that, or both?
All of the above. Yeah. I mean, I think all that stuff's pretty cool.
Well, I tell you what, as an outsider, as a guy coming from the business environment, if I got in this business, that's what I would do, because from a financial standpoint, you have recurring revenue.
Oh yeah.
I interviewed a guy that just had his 2000th song placement.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, I got some songs placed with Robin on that record that and I mean, I'm still seeing residuals from that.
That's awesome.
Smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. But it was just just the fact that it got on the record and it's like something I wrote and a lot of people get to hear it. That's the ultimate thing.
Yeah. It's very good use of your creativity. And the last question is, what's been the biggest change in your personality over the last, let's say, 7 to 10 years? And how much of that change has been deliberate and how much is just a natural part of aging?
I think most of it's just a natural part of aging. I'm a bit more meticulous now. I used to just be like, whatever, I'll throw my shoes in the corner, when I walk in the house. It's or throw them in the middle of the floor or whatever, or whatever it is. But now I just feel like I'm way more organized. I'm a little bit more OCD than I've ever been. In my studio, in my house, everything has its place, and if things start to get a little out of order, it kind of drives me nuts a little bit. I feel like I can't think straight. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, which it never used to be like that, because I used to, maybe it's part of being a dad or whatever, but everything used to be kind of a freaking mess, really. Yeah. Even in my hotel room, when I get up, I'll make my bed, and
wow, that is very impressive, man.
You know what I mean? But and I'm not a neat freak or anything like that, but the older I get, the more for some reason, I just some shit I have to do. To get through the day. Well,
raising a kid is so tough that maybe all that other stuff, you realize, God, making my bed's a breeze, keeping shit organized is a breeze compared to raising a child.
Yeah. Well, and with her too, man, it's you're constantly picking up stuff, and she's just wow, throwing shit, grabbing the remotes, fucking throwing them and all that.
That's the truth, man. Well, hey, listen, man, I can't thank you enough for your time, and I really appreciate it. I want to tell people, let's talk about some of the stuff you got going on. First of all, Justin's got a solo album. He released it a while ago, but it's really cool. It's called, Boldly Going Nowhere. One of the best album titles I've ever seen. And that's on iTunes and all the usual suspects, Boldly Going Nowhere. And it's Justin Derrico. It's Derrico. And he's got some really cool stuff on jamtrackcentral.com. You want to talk about that for a bit?
Yeah, so I've been working with them for a while now, 5-6 years. And they got, I've done a bunch of packages where, there's been some where I've done some solos over some tracks, and you can get the notation and the tracks and, slow versions of it and the video and audio and all that stuff. And I just recently did a master class with them, and it's 50 licks, different, techniques. I did legato and alternate picking and tapping and arpeggios and just different and hybrid picking. And I did, just a bunch of, fun little ideas with that. And, it's awesome. It's a great site, not only for myself. There's a million and one other amazing guitar players on that site. So.
Oh, cool. And so check it out. It's at Jam Track Central, jamtrackcentral.com, and check out Justin's stuff there. It's really cool. And man, any final words of wisdom?
Man, you just got to keep it clean, I guess.
Man, I can't thank you enough for your time. You really shared quite a bit, and I really appreciate it, man. And hopefully you come to Tampa, and we'll get to smoke a cigar. I won't be able to keep up with you, guys. I can tell you that much right now.
Have a scotch and a cigar.
That I'm down on, man. Anytime. Yeah. Hey, everybody, thank you.
It's been really fun, man. Really fun talking to you. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for reaching out to me.
You're welcome. Thank you. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. Thanks again to Justin Derrico for spending time with us. I really appreciate it. Go to everyonelovesguitar.com. Sign up to get notified about future episodes, along with some cool stuff for guitar players. Remember that happiness is a choice, so choose wisely. Be nice. Go play your guitar. And have fun. It is, man. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. We hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, subscribe to the Everyone Loves Guitar podcast, and you can do this online at everyonelovesguitar.com or on iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star positive review. The more 5-star reviews we get, the higher our show ranks, and higher rankings mean we get to continue speaking with cool, interesting guests on our show. We'll see you on the next episode, and until then, keep playing your guitar and have fun making music.